Hello and welcome back to the Stronghold. I'm the Magi, and you know what time it is, and we're gonna get our midweek magic on. This week's midweek magic is gonna have us shaking out the couch cushions for those commons, as Pauper has become one of my favorite budget formats. And to just gild the lily a little bit more, any deck that I present for Pauper is going to come primarily from cards in rotation, making it even more budget accessible and new player friendly. But before we get into all that, allow me to do the awkward thing and promote the channel. A while back, one of my viewers was kind enough to point out that we are the only channel putting out timely midweek magic content. So be sure to subscribe right here at the Planeswalker Stronghold for all of your future midweek magic needs, because we will be bringing you a deck list or strategy every single week. So what do you say we put all this aside and just get to that? So today is probably going to be one of the last times that I do any kind of content revolving around the Lord of the Rings set, although you never really know what the future holds. Before we get too into it, let me just explain what's going on in the screen. The cards in the top portion are related to the token theme that we're getting ready to introduce. Those on the bottom are adjacent but not directly contributing to the token theme. The cards on the left-hand side of your lands are cards that you may want to consider investing wild cards in. All the cards on the right-hand side are coming from the current rotation and should be very, very easy acquisitions. And as you can see, that is where the bulk of your cards are. The inspiration for this and the Lord of the Rings card that is in this deck is Mirkwood Bats, a 4-mana 2/3 flyer. Whenever you create or sacrifice a token, each opponent loses 1 life. And we are looking to run 4 of those. In fact, if you like the concept of the deck, I think this is one of those that if you didn't end up opening 4 of these, it might be worth throwing a couple wild cards at a Lord of the Rings card. Because as you can see, this is just such a potential powerhouse to ping out your opponent. Additionally, from the current rotation cards, and most of these are going to be from your new player experience, assuming that you have received them. That is still an issue at time of recording. Deadly Derision, destroy target creature or planeswalker, create a, you guessed it, treasure token. Also, we have Corrupted Conviction as an additional cost to cast this spell. Sacrifice a creature, draw 2 cards. Of course, the idea is your sacrifice creature was a token. Acre Drinker, I think everybody's familiar with our favorite Phyrexian Vampire for 1 black mana, 1/1. Lifelink, so it might buy you a few turns here, and you'll see some other cards that have that life gain potential as well. You can also exile it from your graveyard and incubate 2, which of course creates a token. Unfortunately, when you activate the incubator token, it is not a sacrifice destroy effect, it just transforms. From here, we've got Sanitarium Skeleton, a nice sacrifice target. Even if it is a non-token, that will certainly be useful in some places. Final Flourish, another ability to sacrifice an artifact or creature to essentially do some removal action going on. Gixian Infiltrator, whenever you sacrifice another permanent, that would include tokens and non-tokens, put a +1/+1 counter on Gixian Infiltrator. We have 3 copies of that coming to us from the new player experience, and it just fits so nicely into this deck. Next up, we have Power Stone Fracture, a sorcery 2 mana as an additional cost to cast this spell. Sacrifice an artifact or a creature. Those can be tokens or non-tokens. Destroy target creature or planeswalker. So a nice little bit of removal there. Etched Familiar, a 3 mana artifact creature for with 3/2 baseline stats. When it dies, each opponent loses 2 life and you gain 2 life. So a potential sacrifice target here to also ping for some life gain, maybe finish off the game. You would only a single Mirkwood Bat in play. This would actually be a 3-point life loss to your opponent and a 2-point life gain for you off of the single familiar. We also have Vanquish the Weak in here. Destroy target creature with power 3 or less. This really doesn't fit the theme, but it is decent removal at the common level, and we do have 3 copies coming to us from our new player experience. Land, of course, one of the easiest places to start in Historic, whether that's Pauper, Artisan, or whatever, is monocolor, and we are keeping it super simple with just 23 basic swamps. Gotta love it. If you've got the fancy ones, great. Otherwise, a swamp is a swamp is a swamp. Now, cards that fit this deck that might be worth some wild card considerations. First off, we've got 4 copies of Shambling Ghast and 2 copies of Deadly Dispute. If you've been around Arena for a while, you know this is just a really sick copy or concept going on here, allowing you to draw cards, create tokens, etc., etc. And it's just so much straight up card advantage and pseudo card advantage. If you play the Shambling Ghast on 1 and then sack it to Deadly Dispute, you are drawing 2 cards to essentially replace the 2 cards that you used, and you're creating 2 treasure tokens that could very nicely fit with Mirkwood Bats. We've got a little bit of life gain potential here, and I'm running just 1 copy of each of these to help new players start expanding their possibilities for Brawl decks. That is 1 copy of Hunt for Specimens, a 2-mana sorcery. Create a 1/1 black and green pest creature token, which has, when this creature dies, you gain a life. And similarly, we're running a single copy of the 3-mana hybrid sorcery / lesson. Create 2 1/1 green black pest creature tokens that also have, when this creature dies, you gain a life. So in essence, by sacrificing one of these to Mirkwood Bats, you're pinging your opponent, you're gaining a life. You might be able to do some additional value in there as well with some of your other cards going on. The one that I think is a little more marginal and probably the last wild card I would consider for this is a single copy of Defiant Salvage, a 3-mana Aetherborn artifact creature, 2/2 base stats, which, 3 mana for 2/2 is not great, but it has an ability to sacrifice an artifact or a creature with no mana input whatsoever, put a 1/1 counter on Defiant Salvager, and you can activate this only as a sorcery. So it does create a nice outlet to potentially sacrifice some of our tokens or non-token artifacts or creatures for additional value. All in all, this is a really solid deck. I'm not sure how this is going to fit everyone's particular collection right now. So if this isn't exactly what you're looking for, not to worry. Just visit our Aetherhub profile, and I think we have somewhere rapidly approaching like 20 budget budget Pauper decks going on there. So I'm sure there's something there for everyone.
And hey, just in case you didn't catch all that, Matt would like you to know that the deck list that we discussed in this video is going to have a link down in the doobly-doo to take you over to Aetherhub, along with a link to any other alternative lists that you might wish to consider. He only asks that you give it a little thumbs up when you're over there checking out the deck list. And I plan on live playing this event on Wednesday at 11 a.m. over on my Twitch channel. So definitely stop in and check it out. Because the Stronghold is so much more than just a YouTube channel, and you can find links to all of our other social media outlets in our profile. Because at the end of the day, we're all budget players. And as a community, we're stronger together. So like, comment, subscribe, follow, do all those things to show a little love. It's appreciated more than you know.